In the last two parts, we were not converted into believing in a flat earth, and we heard some truly ludicrous pseudoscience. In this final part, we get to the root of the issue. Maybe this will convert us. Spoilers. It won't. Enjoy.
People say there are no pictures of the edge. Well, that's because of the Treaty of Antarctica that does not allow for private exploration beyond the 60th parallel.
Anyone can go to Antarctica. There are a few tour groups that do it, but there are some very good reasons why people don't go. It's quite expensive to go there, costing anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 US. You can take a cruise around the coast lasting from 6 to 25 days. That won't include any flights to the locations to get the cruise and whatnot. A trip to the South Pole, however, is far more expensive, and per person is in excess of $50,000. So the cost is a factor. But the biggest factor is that it's really, really cold there, and people tend to not like the cold. And there's really not that much to see.
Upheld by the United Nations, whose flag also happens to be the map of the flat Earth.
The UN flag simply shows all land masses on Earth that way, as it is an easy representation in a circular format to incorporate the rest of their design. I don't expect you to have a degree in graphic design or anything like that, but anyone can see that this is the case. This is the weakest argument in the flat Earth community's arsenal.
People say sunsets disprove the flat Earth because we believe the sun stays at a constant height in the sky as it circles above our head, which is true. However, you'll notice on clear days with minimal humidity, the missing water in the atmosphere allows you to see the sun shrink into the distance as it moves away. It appears to go down just like the lights in this hallway appear to go down. However, if the lights in this hallway were considerably higher than the observer, they would appear to shrink very little as they moved away. And if we were to create some atmospheric magnification, they could even appear to grow as they approach the horizon, just as the sun does on humid days.
Whip out a telescope, or even a camera with a telephoto lens, and zoom in to where the sun last was, and I guarantee you that it will not be there anymore. No matter how far away the sun gets in this scenario, you would still be able to see it, and the light from the sun would be visible across the entire Earth at once. And this simply isn't the case. So why did the sun shrink in the video? Well, it didn't. It was a simply reduction of glare. Again, I don't expect you to know how cameras and lenses work, and yes, the human eye is a lens. However, you can get a filter that will eliminate the glare, and the sun will remain the same size throughout the entire sequence. Isn't this just beautiful?
And what about gravity? Well, to put it plainly, we don't believe in gravity. We believe things govern themselves based on density, buoyancy, and the electromagnetic force, all three things that are measurable and provable. Gravity, even though it is sold as a law, is actually just a theory, and it's truly only needed to stick things to a ball or have that ball revolve around another ball.
Gravity isn't a theory. It is testable and provable, and it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. It doesn't require belief. The only way you can get away with saying gravity isn't real is if you explain it using the curvature of space-time. But since you can't even grasp the curvature of the Earth, I doubt you'd even begin to understand the mechanics behind that subject. You can't simply ignore something that has clear evidence simply because it doesn't support your narrative.
Newton himself had doubts about gravity, and in fact, it has never been proven to exist. There was an experiment.
Step off the top of a tall building and tell me it doesn't exist. According to your theory, you should be able to walk down the side of the building simply because it has more density than you.
Experiment performed in which gravity waves were supposedly detected from two black holes orbiting each other 1 billion light years away. Just for some perspective, the sun is only 8 light minutes away. So multiply that distance by 65,000 to get a light year, then multiply it by 1 billion. Then turn out the lights because they're black holes.
See, I knew you wouldn't understand the curvature of space-time. LIGO does detect many things to do with gravity, except we know about those things and cancel them out with equations. It's like any noise cancelling technology. They emit a wave that is the opposite of the one coming in, so it can't be heard. Trying to simplify the way things work so that you'll understand is very, very taxing.
They claim that everything in the universe gives off gravity waves, including the moon, yet they did not detect it from the moon. They detected it from two black holes a billion light years away. They were supposedly distorting space-time, and the amount which they claimed to have detected this space-time being distorted was less than the diameter of the nucleus of an atom. So, please use your brains the next time you see NASA come up with a big discovery. Look how it's always accompanied with an artist rendering or an image instead of a picture.
Use your brains? Then you go and say how it's an artist image or a picture. Same thing. They have to use an artist impression, as no one has ever been there. And we went over composite images in the last part, so I won't repeat myself here.
Just like this image of a black hole that they supposedly stitched together from multiple forms of data that just happens to look a lot like the cover of the Soundgarden album, Black Hole Sun.
Here's the thing about black holes. You can't directly image one. That image was, as you said, stitched together using thousands of bits of data gathered from radio telescopes focused on a single black hole over several years. This was a massive accomplishment. As for it looking like an album cover, it had been theorised on what black holes would look like for decades, and Soundgarden simply used an artistic rendition of them for their album that has the name Black Hole in it. I can't believe I had to explain that.
Now, the big question, why would somebody cover this up? Well, because the forces of evil cannot rule the original creation, the one created by God.
That's it? The forces of evil? God done it? Those are your arguments? Even if there were forces of evil at play here, what benefit is there in making everyone think the Earth is a globe and that space exists? Even in the scientific community, there are those that believe in a God.
They have to create an artificial one, a perception, in order to remove the true God from the equation, lifting themselves up to be gods.
Which God is the true God? There have been thousands throughout history, and I'm sure many religious people watching this right now aren't flat earthers too. Does that mean they're worshipping the wrong God? Not only are you offensive to anyone in the scientific community, but you're also offensive to the countless religious people around the world too.
And they do this by creating a false reality, making people unknowingly exist in it, thus controlling them, making it possible for everyone, including the 99.9% of people working at NASA, to unknowingly propagate the lie.
NASA was founded in 1958. Now I know you're a young Earth creationist simply by this argument alone. So you believe the world is roughly 6,000 years old. So who was in charge of this lie for the other 4,048 years?
And that perception is so powerful, it can make someone who is provably standing still tell you that they're spinning 1,000 miles an hour. And someone who is standing right side up tell you that they're actually upside down.
This whole upside down thing gets me every time, and it really shows your ignorance. You clearly don't know how spheres work, and you made it crystal clear you don't know what gravity is, or even believe it exists. Any graphic I were to show you, or any simulation I show you, you would simply call a lie, or it's just a picture. There are experiments you can do yourself to prove the Earth is a sphere. But I know you won't.
Now, I know you have more questions, and we have the answers. And even though your heart may feel like you're hearing truth, I'm sure there are many objections that have arisen in your mind.
If you're talking about your own video, then yes. I have many objections, and it may sound like it's true to be on a flat disc, but we simply know it's not the case.
Remember, we used to be you. We have already had to deal with those objections. Just don't let the projection of someone else's perception get in the way of your pursuit of truth.
You're right. I won't let anyone get in my way of the pursuit of truth. The truth is, you are misinformed at best, and a flat-out liar at worst. Flat-out liar. See what I did there?
truth. If you do, it only proves that you're under someone else's control. I pray that you take this seriously because the stakes are high. Don't let anything get in the way of your pursuit of truth because the truth will set you free. God bless. For more answers, subscribe to Woketown, DITRH, the Flat Earth Podcast, or download the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app.
Well, looks like I have a lot more of these types of videos to make. It is done. In no way is this an anti-religion video, as there are many, the vast majority of religious folks who aren't flat earthers. This is and has been an anti-flat earth, anti-misinformation series. I am going to continue making these types of videos moving forward. I'll still do creepy stories too, so don't worry about that. But as I said in the first one, there's nothing scarier than ignorance. And now that ignorance has a voice and is working its way into our homes through the internet. Don't worry, we'll stop them. Thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. As always, a special thanks to Purple Haze and Ghostface, whose continuing support has kept me sane through making this series. You too can help out by joining the Patreon, checking out the merch, or even simply joining the subreddit and submitting stories or videos you'd like to see in the future. Until next time, friends, remember, it's always scarier when it's real. Good night.